in recent months. They did such a fantastic job. They were on time, professional, and courteous. They got the stains out that we didn't think would come out here at the station. This month, get 3-room Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner and take 20% off all services. That's right, 20% off all services. But you need to go to ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. 20% off all services all month. That's Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain throughout today with a high near 49. Tonight, more rain with a low around 41. And Thursday, sunny with a high near 63. Let Natural Lawn handle lawn care so you can enjoy your yard. Their organic-based treatments feed the soil naturally using fewer unnecessary chemicals. It's safer for the kids, pets, and the planet. With no contracts, expert soil testing, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, your lawn is in good hands. Learn more today at naturallawn.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live at 2 p.m. from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing weeknights at 8 p.m. on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Welcome to the Gailey Show. I am your host, John Parker, joined in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
What is on the show today? Our featured contributor, Jake Wittich, managing editor for Windy City Times, will be back. He is reporting on Chicago's surprise search for an LGBTQ director. Cook County's LGBTQ commissioner, Kevin Morrison, is running for Congress, and a look back and a look forward at Chicago's and Vida magazine. Up first, Pride season. It is upon us. It is here, actually, for a number of communities. Mina Howland from Hastings PRIDE, Hastings, Minnesota, joins us now. Hastings PRIDE is June 14th at the Pavilion in Levy Park from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mina, hello. Welcome to the Gailey Show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get started with Hastings PRIDE. What is on the docket for this year?
We have an entirely amazing agenda on deck. We really wanted to take some time right now with just all the things happening in the world to really focus our Pride this year on community, kind of really bringing together all sorts of different areas of town, surrounding communities, and really focusing on different things that brought the community together. So we have great entertainment as usual. We'll have some amazing shows to be putting on, but we've also spent some time focusing on our kids and having some quiet spaces and some open mics for them. We're going to be doing a pet parade just to really get everybody excited and bring your pets out and have a family day. Some quilting opportunities, some weddings. So there's a lot going on.
I love the pet parade idea. That excited me right away. I'm sure somebody's done that before, but I've never encountered it. What a great idea.
So how, what kind of pets are in the pet parade?
Anybody's pet, including a llama, I hear. So I'm excited.
Are the pets in costume?
Yes. So there's both a pet parade and a costume contest. So we've partnered with Animal Arc, which is a 501c3 organization that does pets and adoptions and whatnot. So they're going to be helping with the parade and the contest. And then we will be taking it's a $10 entry fee for the costume contest side to win prizes. And that money will actually be set aside for specifically animal organizations that help the LGBTQA plus community with any pet needs resources, that type of assistance.
That's fantastic.
I love that. Can you tell us a little bit more about Hastings PRIDE as the history of it and how it got started and the role it plays within the larger community around the year?
Yeah, so it's been around now this is our 5th year, which is absolutely incredible. And it's continued to grow over time. What I will say about the Hastings community is it is, you might think it's a little sleeper town, and it's so not. There is a lot of very kind, caring, amazing people that really wanted to make sure that everyone around understood that we are a loving, open, caring community. And so a lot of people came together. They worked through an organization called IDEA, which is the 501c3 that we're underneath as a committee, and have been slowly building this up over the last 5 years. They started smaller, had a couple little vendor events and some entertainment and a parade, and has really grown into where we were as of last year, which was a little over 5,500 attending. And we hope to, give in more this year. We know this year, with some of the funding that's been cut in a lot of different places, we really want to make sure that people understand that it's not about how much money you spend. It's not about, what you buy. It's about being together and being in a safe space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling John that we live in St. Anthony, and it takes 34 minutes to get to this radio station, and it takes 38 minutes to get to Hastings. So
I love it.
if anyone thought, well, where is Hastings? I don't know how far away that is.
No, it's
well,
a gorgeous drive.
if you're in the southern
Particularly
or
in
eastern
June.
metro, it's not far at all.
No,
Mhm.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
So, talking about being in community, we have a Supreme Court justice and some politicians who are calling for the repeal of gay marriage. And so when I was reading about Hastings Pride having free Riverwalk weddings, I was like, oh, I want to know more about that. So Mina, tell me more about that.
Yeah, I am so excited about this because I think it is really, really important that whether you're getting, let's call it legally married, renewing a vow, having a commitment ceremony, whatever that looks like, that you can do it in a place that you're surrounded by support and love. And I think we all know that sometimes people in this community don't always have that. And so what better way to be able to do that than our beautiful river town on the river, with surrounded by people that support and love you. I think that was our real big driver behind it. And we've got several different options for people. So my husband is actually going to be one of the people. We have another person who's on the committee, their sister, and then we actually have a pastor. So you've got a couple choices of what makes you feel comfortable. We welcome pictures, we welcome families, we welcome anything we can, but we just wanted to be able to give that service back in a safe, open space, surrounded with love in a beautiful location.
We are talking with Mina Howland, an organizer with Hastings Pride. Hastings Pride is June 14th at the Pavilion in Levy Park from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I think right there, a bunch of listeners were like, oh my gosh, how lovely would it be to drive over there, have this beautiful ceremony on the river. How does this, so is it like a walk-up scenario, or is there a website where folks have to like sign up for this?
Sorry, sometimes my light goes off in this room. So basically, yes, we will have a sign up available. And so that will be up on the website later today. And you'll be able to just go online to our website and type in or search for wedding. And there'll be a form you can fill out. You just tell us a little bit about yourself, names, pronouns, type of ceremony you're interested in. And then if it is a legal ceremony, just so that we know that we have the ordained people that are able to sign and do all of the legalities for you available, and we'll kind of get you in the rotation, but it'll basically be there all day. So we've got plenty of openings times, and with 3 people in the rotation, we will absolutely make it work for everybody we can.
Okay. And if somebody spontaneously were so moved, are they still able to, if I ask John on the spot,
What happens in
would
Hastings
something
stays in
happen, or would
Hastings?
you wait and
We
you
will
just
make it happen. We want everybody to have this opportunity, and we will do whatever we can to make that happen.
Okay, don't let that stop you,
It's-
anybody.
Don't let it stop
It's such
you.
a great, when I was reading about it, I thought, what an amazing, particularly when we're talking about, and it's not just prides across the country are dealing with loss of funding. And so that's not unique to any particular area, whether it's, city budgets, county budgets, grants that are, foundations, corporate. So when I was reading about this, I thought, what an amazing way to support the community, celebrate love, so, uphold queer relationships. I think it's so special that you all are doing it. And this isn't the first year though that you've done this? Or is it?
This is as far as I know, this is the first year we will actually have like official ceremonies, that type of thing. I think people have had a ceremony at Pride before, but I think this is the first time that we will be actually sponsoring it and driving it.
I think it's just such an amazing idea, and
fantastic.
something that, here's a creative, heartwarming, sounds like a Hallmark movie.
Well,
but it's something
romantic,
that,
yeah.
Pride isn't going to and just getting a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's not supposed to just be commercial stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's about community and love and relationship and supporting each other. And so this amplifies all of that. And I just think it's so special that you all are offering it. And I also saw on the agenda, books and queer books are a very big thing for me personally on my other podcast and on this show. So I was delighted to see that there's going to be story time with a queen.
Yep, absolutely. And that'll be just at our local library. We'll have a schedule for that out as well. So during the day, anybody will be able to go and do that. The nice part about our Pride that may be a little bit different than others is while there is one main location where a lot of the vendors are going to be, the food trucks, that type of thing, we're also a little bit spread out. So the downtown area is small, but we will have different spaces for things. So like some of the things may be up at the library, which is just a couple blocks up. The quiet space or the space where the kids will have open mic to be able to speak openly will be a little more secluded and quiet in a different area by our art space. So we did that on purpose so that people, one, don't feel so overwhelmed by everything that's going on, and they can really focus in the moment on what's happening for the event that's taking place. But two, I think it really helps drive home the fact that it is a community. It's not a location. It's not about the location. It's about all of the locations working together.
I love how you all are conceptualizing that. And it is a very walkable community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you've really thought about it and it shows. And I think people will respond to that. I did a little research and there are 39 Pride celebrations of one kind or another in the state or in the surrounding, Western Wisconsin or Eastern North Dakota. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to get out every weekend in June. And this would be a great way to start on June 7th, we said, right?
June 14th.
June 14th, I'm sorry. Second weekend of June.
Second weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, and we actually have a kickoff the night before. So if you have any kids, our YMCA is hosting a glow party. It's not a glow party like with lights, it's glow like glow up. And so they will have games and opportunities to do dancing and obstacle course. We'll have prizes. We'll have giveaways. All
great.
of us that are on the committee, which are a whole bunch of business owners and like-minded residents, will have booths there so you can learn about different things, learn about who's inclusive.
We're going to take a short break.
Sorry about
and we'll come right back. No, we're going to ask you more about that if you'll stick around for the next segment.
Sounds great.
Mina Howland with Hastings Pride. You're listening to KTNF AM 950 Radio Minneapolis, St. Paul, WCPT 820 in Chicago. We'll be right back.
The Stronger Together Pride Benefit Concert and Dance Party is coming to the Granada Theater in Uptown on Thursday, May 30th, and it's one night with a whole lot of heart. Hosted by Nina D'Angelo, this 21-plus event features live music from Ryan Cabrera and a high-energy dance floor driven by DJ Shannon Blowtorch. It's an incredible celebration, but it's also a fundraiser with a whole lot of impact. This year, Twin Cities Pride is facing a $200,000 funding gap after losing major sponsors. This event is a powerful way for the community, supporters, allies, and everyone who believes in Pride to step up and help close the gap. There are multiple ticket options available from general admission to premium experiences. So however you show up, you're making a difference. Presented with support from the Car Guy Concierge. Find tickets and event info at tcpride.org. That's tcpride.org. Celebrate, support, and help power what comes next, because we are stronger together.
If you're the parent or guardian of a queer young person, there's an opportunity for you to make their future brighter by filling out a community needs survey conducted by the Council on LGBTQIA2S+ Minnesotans. The council wants to know what the needs and experiences are of younger queer people. The survey is confidential and available at mnqt.info/survey. Let's address the erasure and isolation that young queer people can experience by creating a more inclusive Minnesota. Go to mnqt.info/survey to get started. This June, Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus serves Diva Worship for their Leading Ladies Divas of Broadway Pride concert. Feel the heat, the passion, the undeniable power of music that sets your soul on fire. From the sultry seduction of Bring on the Men, to the soul-stirring wisdom of Children Will Listen, to the joyous, rebellious charm of Do Re Mi. With dazzling harmonies, show-stopping flair, and a touch or more of jazz hands, the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus will take you on a thrilling, emotional, and downright life-changing musical journey. It's the electric energy of 180 voices, bold, unapologetic, and dripping with Broadway brilliance. This isn't just a concert, it's a celebration of pride, power, and the irresistible magic of Broadway. The dates are June 21st and 22nd at the Ordway. Tickets start at $28. Get yours today at tcgmc.org. That's tcgmc.org. It's entertainment worth coming out for.
Be part of something new at History Theater with the premiere of Whoa Nellie, the Outlaw King of the Wild Middle West. This original musical follows Nellie King, a daring and complex figure whose life defied expectations in the 1800s. Packed with vaudeville style, humor, and heartfelt moments, it's a bold look at fame, identity, and truth with surprising relevance today. Whoa Nellie runs May 17th through June 8th in downtown St. Paul. Tickets and details at historytheater.com. That's historytheater.com.
Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I am your host, John Parker, joined in studio by my executive producer, Jim Pounds. It is 21 minutes after the hour. Pride season is upon us. Mina Howland from Hastings PRIDE is here with us to talk about Hastings PRIDE, which is June 14th at the Pavilion in Levy Park from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mina, I wanted to ask about the open mic. So that is an event. I mean, tell us more about that, because I think that might be a really special place for, and I want to hear more about that for attendees who may be thinking of coming.
Yeah, I think that, I know that the open mic concept has been around for quite a while, and we tend to have them at a lot of the Pride events where people can come and tell their story or say their truth or talk a little bit about what, maybe their experience is. I think that right now, especially when it comes to our youth, that is something that is really important for them to have the opportunity to do. And it's not that our adults don't need it, but I really think that at the current space in the world, that the kids really need a little bit of an extra space to be able to articulate their feelings and talk about what's happening in their heads without that oversight. And so we really wanted to have a quiet, safe space for them to be able to talk and speak their truth and be able to tell their stories and listen to other people their own age talk about their stories. So we really made an intentional space for that this year, specifically for our youth, so that they could do that at this event.
There's so much intentionality going into this Pride, and the thoughtfulness of it is just so. Thank you for that. And I think I appreciate that you're saying that, youth right now, because they are the spaces, the schools are the front line, right? All the legislative attacks are focusing primarily on schools and then in hospitals, right? In healthcare. And so I think that's just going to be such an important space for folks to be talking and sharing their stories. And is this like a walk-up situation?
Yeah, so this will be a walk-up situation. It will be in our art space, which is at the end of our downtown area. There's a small area that they will be able to go inside, sit around. It's a beautiful area. They'll be able to just kind of go up to the mic and speak their truth, tell their stories.
I want to know more about the environment. Feels obviously different this year, the context of Pride this year. Talk to us about how, obviously there's a lot of events that you all have been very specific in how you're choosing them, how you're going to be running them this year to respond to those needs. On a more meta level, I guess, talk to me about the need for Pride and why we still need to be having these events and how we can respond to what's going on right now.
Because I don't want my children to feel like they cannot be themselves with what's happening in the world. I'm sorry. Both my kids are in the space. Both my kiddos are amazing and strong and speak about who they are and are proud of who they are. But we also know that at this time that can come with some backlash or some risks that we don't want our children to have to endure. At the same time, I don't want them to hide who they are. And so part of me stepping up to run this committee this year was the fact that I wanted to ensure that for my kids, for your kids, for anyone who is raising the next generation, that everything that came before them didn't come for nothing. And that is a continued message that we send out. Sorry.
No,
don't.
They're very lucky to have you as a champion like that.
I know. I wish my parents had been like that. We're talking with Mina Howland, organizer with Hastings PRIDE, which is June 14th. There is so for some folks, there will be that concern of how do I be in community and be there in safety? What is that? How are you thinking about going? Like, how did that come up in the planning process? Is my question.
Yeah.
How do we, the community, keep safety for ourselves during Pride?
We actually have multiple security measures in place, which is great. And we work in conjunction with our local law enforcement. They're there, they're aware, but they're also kind of in the background, right? We don't want people to feel that they're overbearing or on top of anything. We have our own staff as well, and we've really communicated. Our entire committee that's operating this is from youth all the way up to older people. So it's not just about the people that are designated as security. We have the GSA groups from the different high schools that will be coming. They will be on point to let us know if they see anything, hear anything. This is a see something, say something community. That's how we're going to move forward.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And this is, I mean, it's billed as a family event.
100%.
I can really tell you being as a mom. I really appreciate this. What you're saying right now it's really resonating with me, and I'm being, because I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start crying myself. No, it's so important to see. What's resonating with me is, even as an adult right now, the need for parents, you know what I mean, to be there and just stepping up. And when we see particular states trying to pass bills, looking at you, Texas, that say, you know, that you can be verbally cruel to your child for being LGBTQ, and that's not abuse anymore, you know, to see folks like you, Mina, who are stepping up in the community and taking these roles to create these spaces that are affirming for LGBTQ folks. And I know that doesn't just resonate for the kids, that it means a lot to adults as well, myself included. So I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing on behalf of your family and the larger community.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, I look at what's happening in Iowa, right? And how, you know, I have friends, very close friends that are in Colorado, and with what's happening with the trans community, and whether or not they can even get on a plane to get here, or whether or not it's going to be safe for them to take a car from Colorado and drive through these states to get to our state. Those are all things that we're thinking about. Those are all things that we're talking about, both in the community and outside of the community. So continuing those conversations, that is why Pride's important, and anybody that can help support that's where we need to be.
And I appreciate that you're bringing up the travel bit as well, because I think for folks in Minnesota, we can feel like, particularly if you're in a metro area, if you're in, Duluth or Rochester, it's sort of like travel doesn't necessarily come into it, but when you are coming from Missouri, from Iowa, from these other states, travel can be perilous. And I don't think enough of our allies know that. But Mina Howland, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Is June 14th. Y'all need to go there. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to be back with Jake Wittich, managing editor of Windy City Times. You are listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 KTNF and WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Wake up with your favorite sexy liberal, me, Stephanie Miller, every weekday morning from 8 to 11 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease, it'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit chanhassendt.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
What does it mean to begin? Creation Story explores Native origin stories through powerful contemporary art, connecting past and present with every brushstroke in sculpture. Explore how identity, culture, and resilience are shaped through art. Creation Story, now at All My Relations Arts through July 26th. This exhibition invites you to the heart of the Ochate-Shikoin storytelling, where spiritual relatives guide the way. Open to all. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org. Experience the beginning. Experience Creation Story at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain throughout today with a high near 49. Tonight, more rain with a low around 41. And Thursday, sunny with a high near 63. Nightingale offers a warm, inviting atmosphere with a full menu of American classics like the famous Nightingale Burger and Fries, Ginger Tamari Chicken Wings, and Duck Pastrami Reuben. They're open daily from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a full menu available until midnight. Takeout orders also are welcome. Learn more at nightingalempls.com.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Broadcasting live in the 2 p.m. hour from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing weeknights at 8 p.m. on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome back to the Gailey Show. It's 33 minutes after the hour. I'm your host, John Parker, in studio with executive producer Jim Pounds. We are very proud to be in partnership with Windy City Times. Windy City Times has been the voice of Chicago's LGBTQ community since 1985. This year marks the news outlet's 40th anniversary of uplifting queer stories, reporting with pride and chronicling the LGBTQ plus history. Visit windycitytimes.com/newsletters to sign up for the publication's weekly LGBTQ plus news updates. You can join Jim and I in doing that. Every other Wednesday, we are joined by Jake Wittich, who is the managing editor of Windy City Times, where he reports in-depth stories on Chicago's LGBTQ plus community and oversees the publication's growing newsletter operation, of which we're going to talk about later in the episode here. Jake, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, hello. How are you today?
Well, still a little teary-eyed from our first guest, but some big news that you're covering here in Chicago. So ideally in our cities, you know, we want city administrations to have LGBTQ advisory councils and also have dedicated positions to coordinate and direct LGBTQ policies. In Chicago, Mayor Johnson promised to create such a position last year, but it sounds like the search for it just kind of got sprung on everybody.
Yeah, it's a promise they made last year that they were going to be more engaged with the LGBTQ plus community. And part of this was they were going to create this chief LGBTQ plus officer role. And they had planned to hire them by the fall of last year, but they pushed the deadline back to have a more thorough process. But applications kind of quietly went up a couple weeks ago, and the deadline was like 10 days later, not even business days, like 10 days flat. So it really blindsided the members of the mayor's LGBTQ plus advisory council. And overall, it kind of just seems like the mayor's office fumbled this whole thing that was supposed to be a positive for the community.
Did folks... Well, it sounds like then folks like even like leaders in the community, I'm thinking like nonprofits, community orgs who may be applying, but also you would lean on to, hey, this position is open. I'm going to tell my networks about it. Like, was the community even aware that the posting had happened?
From what I've gathered, no. I attended, so the LGBTQ plus advisory council is a public body. So due to the Open Meetings Act, I was able to go to their meeting, and they have one every quarter. I didn't know this was going to come up. I was just like, what are they talking about today? Let me maybe get some story ideas. And then a representative from the mayor's office came in and they're like, oh, by the way, we posted this job yesterday and we need your help sharing it. This LGBTQ plus advisory council has about 15 or so members, I think, maybe up to 20. And most of them are nonprofit leaders here in Chicago, community organizers, longtime activists. And everyone, I can't say everyone, I didn't confirm with everyone, but most of the people in the room were shocked and stunned that this posting had gone up and nobody knew about it. I learned at the same time that many members of the advisory council did.
Wow. That's weird to me, given when I read the position description myself, the duties are to manage the council. So it was like, wait a minute, you're going to manage the council, but the council doesn't even know that we're currently like in the midst of the hiring process.
Yes, exactly. And this whole promise kind of started last year. There's a lot of drama around this, but the city of Chicago imposed new restrictions on the Chicago Pride Parade that effectively cut the parade in half. And it was a very top-down decision. No one on the council knew about this before it happened. It was a surprise to the Pride Parade organizers. We have 9 LGBTQ plus alder people, and none of them knew about it either. That's about a fifth of our city council. So when I broke that story, it caused a lot of waves in Chicago, and people were not happy with the mayor's office for not engaging the community around the Pride Parade changes. And here we are a year later, and they did the same thing, it feels like.
Has the mayor's office explained the rationale for this?
You know, that's been the frustrating part to me. I have given the mayor's office every chance to comment on this story, and they have not. So there's still a lot of questions. The applications closed on Friday. I would like to know how many applications they received. There's also a lot of questions about what the interviewing process is going to look like. The representative from the mayor's office said they wanted to announce the new director during Pride Month, which some said felt a little performative, like they were just checking a box to say they did something during Pride Month. So there's just still a lot of questions. I really want to know, what is the council's level of involvement in this? I've heard from some council members that there might be one or two or a small handful of council members that get to be involved in interviewing the candidates. But again, I've heard nothing from the mayor's office on this.
I was going to ask about that. So there may be an opportunity for council members to interview and screen candidates.
Yes. And so last fall, the mayor's office invited a bunch of the council members and other LGBTQ plus leaders to not their office, but a meeting place downtown, where they outlined this whole process. And a representative from the mayor's office, she no longer works there due to family reasons, but she promised at that meeting, and these were like direct quotes in my article, that the council would be very much in the weeds of the hiring process and that they were building the position in collaboration with the council. So to hear that a whole job description was crafted and posted without collaboration from the council kind of goes against those additional promises they made. Maybe they overpromised and underdelivered, you know?
Yeah.
I was reading in your article that Mayor Daley had a similar-ish position in the 90s. Are these mayor contingent positions, or are they like with the city? Like, did Mayor Lightfoot have a type like an LGBTQ CDO?
That's a really good question. I'm still trying to piece together the history myself, but it's something I'm working on. What I do know now is, I think around Mayor Daley, that might have been the first LGBTQ plus director that the city had. And Mary Morton was selected for that. And she actually, it was like a very long process, maybe almost a year for her to get that role. And Robert Castillo, who's on the current advisory council, was on the council at that time, and he was involved in that hiring process. So it does set a precedent that the council can be involved. Somewhere along the way, it might have been under Mayor Rahm Emanuel, or it might have been under him, the advisory council, or the position went away. Mayor Lightfoot, she had an advisory council, but no formal position for that. So it's a new thing that Johnson's administration would be reintroducing.
The more I learn about former Mayor Emanuel, particularly listen to his comments recently, I'm like, yeah. I am curious about the funding for the position. So is it going to be a permanent position that's funded out of the city budget? Is it going to be grant funded and temporary, and then they'll find the funds later?
Yeah, that's another great question. The original intent was it was going to be grant funded. And I think they were looking for grants to fund it for like 3 years or something. And then Johnson was going to do something to kind of enshrine it in the city's laws, that it would then come out of the city's budget and just be a permanent position in the mayor's office, not tied to his administration. It would outlive him even. But the city was unable to find grants. So instead they found money within the city's budget to fund this position. I do question how they found money where it's in the news we're facing a deficit, you know, and it's hard to piece these budgets together. So when we're making cuts elsewhere, I do wonder how they found money to do this. But I'm not saying it's bad they did. It's great to have someone in this role. But
the first thing that occurred to me when I heard how quickly it happened is that they've identified somebody already. You know, it's like, oh, we've got this person and we've got 2 candidates, and let's not turn this into a rodeo with 25 people. Let's just run this quick through and get it done. I wonder. It's a strange way of timing it, I think.
One of the council members asked the mayor's office that during the meeting, and the mayor's office said the fix is not in. However, Mayor Johnson has had some controversies for other roles in his administration where that has essentially happened. And it's funny, the same week that my story came out, I think there were 2 other departments where he was being accused of kind of, is the word shoehorning? I don't know, but like ramming one of his own choices in to lead other departments in the city. So,
right.
I mean, what flagged this story for me is that, you know, I've been in a previous career, I've been an affirmative action officer. I've been in the chief diversity officer roles in higher education. I know the hiring process is never ideal. Nothing ever goes completely to plan. So I will say that, but I've also learned that the tone and process established in hiring often can be predictive of what happens to the position itself and what that person then has to deal with. And so this does not augur well. You know what I mean? Like, the process you use for hiring can often be like, is this the process that person is going to have to deal with? where things are suddenly sprung on them, or
Exactly.
very willy-nilly. Like it's
Right.
very,
Right.
it's not on her. I'm saying this as a former affirmative action officer. How searches go can be too predictive of how the position actually has to function within an administration.
Yeah, it makes me question, what does the mayor see as the LGBTQ Advisory Council's role? You know, what does he see as that? And that's something that this officer is going to have to figure out. And I think the council has questions too. What is our role? You know, when they speak out against the mayor's office, they kind of get their wrists slapped, you know, and what is their role then if it's not to advise?
Yeah. Well, yeah, these roles are tricky, and you know, as I eventually got to be at, I would actually advise like organizations. I'm like, do not create a chief diversity officer role, or any type of these roles unless you are ready to commit to this and do it correctly. And if you're not going to do the process correctly, then it's going to blow up in your face, and you're going to get issues like this. Which is very, I mean, obviously Jake will rely on you to tell us and keep us up to date on how all of this starts to play out, because it would be a historic position and we want it to be successful.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I do want to spread, or it's too late now, but I wanted to spread the word that this position is out there, but people do need to know the story behind it.
It's interesting. Fact check me. When I was looking at the position description, I wrote down here that it closes on the 23rd.
They might have extended it. I'll have to double check that.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to look that up. I don't know where I wrote the 23rd here. We'll look that up. We'll put it on our Blue Sky afterwards to let folks know if it's closed or still open. Speaking of the politics of stuff, Commissioner Kevin Morrison, Cook County Board Commissioner, has announced a run for Congress. If I understand this correctly, the first LGBTQ out politician on the commission, right?
Yeah, the first openly gay person elected to the Cook County Board. There's been a few since him. One of them was Anthony Quesada, who I recently reported was appointed alderman. So he's left the board and now is in city council. But Kevin Morrison, he has been on the board since I think it's 2018. And he is now running for Congress. He wants to replace U.S. Rep. Raja Krishnamurthy, who he actually worked for at one point. But Raja is going after Dick Durbin's seat, so Kevin wants to fill his.
We are talking with Jake Wittich, managing editor of the Windy City Times. It's probably too soon for Commissioner Morrison to have a platform, but can you tell us a little bit about his background? Like, what did he do on the board that may be instructive to how he might be as a representative?
Yeah, and he said he's really going to build on his platform he did as a board member. So he focused a lot on mental health. He experienced bullying and mental health issues growing up, and he said without a therapist, he wouldn't be here today to be serving in this role. And that's a right everyone should have. Everyone should have access to mental health services like he did. So he helped he led the creation of Cook County's first ever Department of Behavioral Health, which is housed within the Department of Public Health. And it's meant to plug in all the gaps, fill all the gaps where mental health care is not available to people in the county. So he wants to bring that on the national level. And then another thing he's been really focused on is human rights, especially for the LGBTQ plus community. He got it codified in Cook County law that discrimination, you couldn't be discriminated against based on gender identity, which was pretty huge. And he also helped make sure that all Cook County documents requested a person's gender identity rather than their sex assigned at birth.
Wow. That's good to know. I have some more questions about Mr. Morrison after the break. I have to take a break here. We're going to talk more with Jake Wittich from Windy City Times about Kevin Morrison's candidacy, but also En La Vida, which is the voice of Chicago's Latina LGBTQ plus community. So one last break, lots still to get to. You are listening to The Gailey Show.
Hey, it's Tom. As the birds begin to sing and the days grow longer, there's no better time to spring into savings than now with All Energy Solar. Spring is perfect for home improvements, so why not choose a project that saves you money and helps create a cleaner, greener planet? While solar panels require an initial investment, the savings on your energy bills quickly add up. With a lifespan of at least 25 years, your system from All Energy Solar can save you tens of thousands of dollars over time. Act now and you can still take advantage of the 30% federal tax credit. Plus, you may qualify for additional incentives depending on where you live. The future is uncertain, but with solar energy, you can lock in your energy rates for years to come. With All Energy Solar's experience and expertise, they'll guide you toward a greener future and unlock the full potential of solar power. Take the first step toward energy independence and a greener future. Get a free consultation today at allenergysolar.com. That's allenergysolar.com.
Meet Jordan Berman, a charming single gay man in New York City who would love to be in love if only Mr. Right would swipe right. Between singles night happy hours and bachelorette blowouts, Jordan watches his girlfriends get engaged one by one, asking, what's next for him? Dive into the highs and lows of modern love and Significant Other, opening May 30th at the Main Street stage in Anoka. Tickets start at $43. Visit lyricarts.org. Lyric Arts, theater with character.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Warm weather is here. Maybe you're getting ready for a graduation party over at the house. There's a lot coming up as summer nears. Your house isn't ready, so that's why you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res right now. Zero Res can handle every surface in your home: carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, and air ducts. Zero Res has both been out to my house and out here at AM 950 in our studios in recent months. They did such a fantastic job. They were on time, professional, and courteous. They got the stains out that we didn't think would come out here at the station. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner and take 20% off all services. That's right, 20% off all services. But you need to go to ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. 20% off all services all month. That's Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
Live and share mental health with Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. Hello, everyone. We are Becky McNatten and Tara Martini, hosts of Feels Out Loud, a show dedicated to expanding the paradigm of mental health.
Tune in to develop both personal and relational insight, language on emotions, and daily life application.
Join us weekly as we explore topics connected to mental wellness. Each Sunday at 9 a.m. here on AM 950, be a part of our mission to connect this world more authentically and fully with one another.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I'm your host, John Parker. It is 9 minutes before the top of the hour. We are very proud to be in partnership with Windy City Times. Windy City Times has been the voice of Chicago's LGBTQ plus communities since 1985. Every other Wednesday, we are joined by Jake Wittich, who is their managing editor, where he reports in-depth stories on Chicago's LGBTQ plus community and oversees the publication's growing newsletter operation. Before the break, actually, I just want to say, because I looked it up real quick here in the break, that the closing date for the director of LGBTQ plus affairs, at least on the PDF off of the city's website at the end in big red font, says it closes on May 23rd. So, at least according to that, applications are still open if you want to apply. But right before the break, we were talking about Kevin Morrison, who is put his hat in the race for Congress in Illinois. And so you were saying, and I wanted to know this because I think there are some LGBTQ folks who get into politics and they kind of shy away or they don't deal with LGBTQ plus issues.
Right.
They want to be, seen as I'm everybody's representative or senator. But it sounds like, and I'm looking at you, Representative Chris Pappas, who voted to take away healthcare for trans kids in the National Defense Authorization Act last December. Not going to let that one go. But Jake, in terms of Kevin Morrison, that sounds like he does have, he's willing to engage in issues that affect the community and wants to advance and put forward legislation that would benefit the community and wouldn't shy away from that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big part of his identity, being queer, and he's not going to put that on the shelf to serve the people. We can serve queer people and serve everyone else in this world at the same time, And I think it's noteworthy, especially as I was on maybe a couple months ago talking about some of the Democrats who have backtracked on their support for transgender issues and people wanting to shy away from LGBTQ messaging, thinking it'll win elections for them somehow. I asked Kevin Morrison about that, and he was very clear. He stands by the transgender community. Brave Space Alliance, which is one of our Black and trans-led organizations, had its big fundraiser last week, and Kevin Morrison was there to support them. So I do think he's going to continue being vocal about LGBTQ stuff.
Good. Have there been any endorsements yet? I know sometimes it's like there's folks that endorse right away and sometimes they wait. Have there been any endorsements for Kevin yet?
There have been a handful of endorsements, mostly from a lot of the other LGBTQ plus leaders. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I'm going to our Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton now. She is running for Congress as well in a different district, and she's got a ton of endorsements from like 50 LGBTQ plus leaders. So different story, but it just popped into my head.
Have there been any other candidates who have jumped in the race yet for to run against Kevin Morrison?
Not on my radar, but I am curious to see how many other LGBTQ plus candidates are running for Congress in Illinois this year. We already have Eric Sorensen in office. Kevin Morrison would be the second person in Congress who's queer from Illinois. So that's interesting to me. We do have LGBTQ plus people running for state seats. So that could be interesting, new faces in the state legislature, but just things I'm keeping an eye on as this election season picks up.
I know I mentioned this on Blue Sky, and I think that maybe we are seeing a wave. It'll be very curious to see if it materializes or not when I see all of the folks that are deciding to run for office, and particularly in response to
and Kevin Morrison, he just put out like literally a second ago an email. He raised $100,000 in his first week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good start.
Good job.
Good start. Well, we will stay tuned to your reporting, Jake, on that to see how his campaign shapes up. So you oversee Windy City Times' growing newsletter operation. And speaking of newsletters, and La Vida was the voice of Chicago's Latina LGBTQ plus community from 1996 until 2004. And it is now a free monthly newsletter through Windy City Times. How did the revival come about?
Yeah, so Tracy Baim, she owned En La Vida and this other publication called Black Lines. And I think it was actually 1996 to 2002. Somewhere along the way, I think Google's ChatGPT stuff, it keeps pulling the wrong dates, I've noticed.
Fact checking is important.
Yeah. These were the voices of Chicago's Black and Latinx queer communities in the 90s and early 2000s. And then they went away because it's hard to run a paper. It costs a lot of money. But we brought them back as monthly newsletters now because we're already covering all of these stories for Windy City Times, but now we have a place to put them. So it's really exciting. We're honoring the history of these publications and La Vida. I'll talk specifically about that one because Lou just did a great retrospective about its history. Every issue we pull from the archive. So, in the first issue of En La Vida, here's the stuff that you covered, and you can scroll through our PDFs of that issue, which is really cool. And then we look to the future, what's happening now as well. So I love this newsletter. It's like when I build it every month and it comes together, I really get emotional just seeing all the great content and the diversity of content we have in there. It's really cool.
I love the combination, the intentionality of honoring the history and what happened, and then also what's happening now, because so much of this has happened before of what we're dealing with right now. And so I love that you're holding that up. You mentioned Lou, so tell us about the writer who's creating and reporting for En La Vida now.
Yeah, so Lou Calzada, they are a Latina non-binary writer. They went to Northwestern University and they ended up fellowing at Windy City Times. They helped us launch Chicago Social Butterflies, which is our weekly LGBTQ plus events roundup newsletter. And they just stuck around because they're great and we don't want them to leave. So when En La Vida launched, it was natural for Lou to fill this role, and they've done a great job.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Jake. I can't believe how fast our time went today.
I know.
We will see you back here in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
And maybe we can talk about the Pope. I know that's a big deal, I think, in Chicago, right? I don't know.
Yeah, Chicago Pope.
It's a thing, right? Anyway, thanks everyone for listening and or watching today. We have a link in our show notes and on our Blue Sky where you can read all of Jake's reporting for Windy City Times and how to sign up for those newsletters. Up next on WCPT 820 and AM 950 KTNF is the Matt McNeil Show. For folks in Minnesota, stay tuned for Native Roots Radio after that. Connect with us on Blue Sky. We're at thegayleyshow.org on Blue Sky. And until tomorrow at 2 p.m., keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.
See ya.
The Stronger Together Pride Benefit Concert and Dance Party is coming to the Granada Theater in Uptown on Thursday, May 30th. And it's one night with a whole lot of heart. Hosted by Nina D'Angelo, the